Today is going to be my November... Good morning everyone, it's Jade from Boho Bookworm. Welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be my November wrap-up, part 1. It is going to include one of the books that I did finish in the last day of October that I didn't get to include in my October wrap-up, and that is The Trapped Wife by Samantha Hayes. She's the author who wrote Date Night, which I thought was alright, and The Happy Couple, which I gave a 4 out of 5 star review. After one 2-star book and one 4-star book, I guess The Trapped Wife has kind of made me realise that maybe she's not an author for me. I only gave it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Technically, it should be everything that I enjoy in a book. It is a tension-packed, domestic thriller, like a typical popcorn read. It's about this woman called Jen who's just found out that she's pregnant. However, she hasn't slept with her husband for 3 months. Whoops. Her husband, who has also just been killed in an avalanche accident. So she's busy trying to grieve the loss of her husband and come to terms with the fact that she's now pregnant with some stranger's baby. She's really worried about her reputation after this uncharacteristic one-night stand. So she returns to work after, a little period of time off for grieving purposes and all that. She's a GP, and this new patient takes this alarming interest in her. The guy in this story, what a manipulative prick. But at the same time, I felt like Jen did herself no favours. Her level of weakness in this book as a character just blew my mind. I could not stand her. I don't understand how anyone can let someone walk all over them anymore. I know in the past I used to do that because I was a weak person, and it took a lot of strength and a lot of courage and a lot of growth for me to overcome that. And I just don't like reading about such weak characters anymore because I don't like being thrust back into that kind of life and that headspace. I just feel like the choices that she made were rattling. And I did get lost with all the different storylines in this book. I mean, it was slow-paced and yet still oddly addictive, which I think it was that the domestic side of it that I do love that made it, I just had to keep turning the pages. I guess it was well written. I just didn't really care for any of the characters, so 2.5 out of 5 stars for me. Then the one I know that you've all been waiting for, that I did a whole month reading vlog of, Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. I had been desperate to read this book for years. It is much beloved on BookTube and Goodreads. It's a renowned horror book in the community. I do understand why fans of horror would love this book. It centres around these 4 fictional prolific horror authors. They all agree to this interview in this infamous haunted house on the night of Halloween. And what I did find interesting is that each of the characters in this book, they do explore the different aspects of horror. They all dive deep into what certain elements of the genre makes each of them tick personally. It was quite fascinating in that it did open my mind to horror more and made me see how layered it really is. I also found all the characters really unique, really fleshed out. They all had their own voice, and they just couldn't have been more different from each other. I did find that this book was more of this psychological slow burn in the beginning. It was kind of like this mystery that combined gothic fiction with local legends. Inexplicable things would happen, but then there was this massive kind of, I don't know, it was there was this supernatural, paranormal kind of feel to it, but then there's also this question, is everything just really psychological, and are they just mucking with their own heads? As with literally every horror book I have read, in the end, I didn't find this frightening, and at times I kind of thought that it was a bit ridiculous and pointless. I was really hoping for a haunted house story, and I really didn't get that. There were definite things that irked me about the book. For instance, there's one point in the book where one of the characters is complaining about how women are sexualized in horror, and then what does the author do? He sexualizes women in the book. And it's not even just when one of the characters has an erotic fantasy about the one female horror author in the mix, but there's even this scene from a father's point of view, and he's describing his teenage daughter, and he describes her body as her budding curves or her budding breasts or something like that, and I was like, I don't know any dad that would describe their daughter that way. Thank God I don't. And honestly, how many times were breasts brought into this story? I don't understand men's fascination with tits, their boobs, get over them. So beyond the amount of times that the author sexualized women in this book, I also picked up that he must be extremely fatphobic. He just described characters on the larger scale in really derogatory ways that I did not appreciate, and it kind of triggered me. It was definitely the psychological side of this book that ended up making me enjoy it slightly more than I probably should have. So I was kind of leaning towards giving this a 1 star, but the psychological side did win me over. So I give it a 2-star review. Bit of a disappointment, really. Okay, I'll talk about one more book today and then I got to get to work. The next book is 8 Perfect Hours by Louise, or however you pronounce her name, I really don't know. So for some reason, my thriller and true crime loving soul was really craving something slightly more cozy and romantic, feel good. And I guess I should have known from the title of this book, 8 Perfect Hours, that this book was going to be a bit too insta-lovey for me. This is a book about Noelle and Sam. They don't know each other at all, but they get stuck together in a car in the middle of a blizzard. They connect right away under the circumstances. Noelle, where do I even start with her character? I found her so desperate, like literally frothing at the mouth for this kind of like connection and love from anyone, really. I mean, there's a lot of her internal dialogue in this book, literally basically begging the universe to give her this guy and to make things work for them. And I was just like, oh God, it's painful. I mean, okay, yes, I was young once too, and I sound really old there. I'm only 30, but I was young once, and yeah, I had that like hopefulness that, you know, this spark between someone I've just met would be my forever person and stuff. And you know what, through time I've become a little bit more skeptical and a little bit more, I don't want to say the word bitter, but bitter. However, Noelle is not young in this book. I'm pretty sure she's in her late 20s to early 30s. So it was just a bit sad. So Sam's character, right? I found him really bland and really not as interested in Noelle as she was with him. Like, he just seemed really blasé about everything. So it made me really unable to sense any kind of connection between the two of them at all. Granted, as you go along with the book, their connection is more deep-rooted than just a random night trapped in a car together. It is something that tugs them together pretty much inseparably for the rest of their lives. But yeah, I just didn't enjoy this book. It's a book that very much thrives on the idea of soulmates. And you know what? At the beginning of this year, maybe I would have believed in soulmates still, but I've just been too hurt too often, and I just can't. Maybe I will in the future, who knows? But right now, dating seems impossible, especially where I am. It's just quite dismal, and I'm just focusing on myself and working hard to get myself a better life at the minute. There are a few certain things on the horizon. Oh God, my alarm's going off for work. I gotta go soon, but let me just finish this review quickly. I'm gonna stop nattering on about my personal shit because that is not why we're here today. So basically, there was nothing really wrong with the writing of this book. It was just that the characters annoyed me senseless. I'm coming across like such a bitch in this video. I promise you I'm not. I'm a really nice person normally. I think I'm just having a bad day. I just found like the endless coincidences that brought Noelle and Sam together after the blizzard just totally unbelievable, unplausible, implausible, that one. I swear I am an author. There were redeeming factors to the book. I did like the Britishness to it. I mean, there was even this moment, because I listened to it on Audible, there was a moment that Milton Keynes got brought up, which is where I work in the city, which I need to go and drive to now. But I just really liked that familiarity, but unfortunately it lacked that genuine spark and connection that I was really craving. I just found the characters' conversation with each other stilted. There was no witty banter. There was absolutely no sexual tension. Just one woman yearning for love that kind of came across like she was this star-struck, absolute, desperate, crazy woman. Okay, that is all you're getting from me today because work is calling and I have a very important interview to go to today that I am not allowed to tell you about just yet, but good things are hopefully on the horizon. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.